And recording is in progress. I've got it. So just, yes, if anybody doesn't want to be seen, you need to switch your video off, but we're recording in
Sorry,
sessions.
Caroline, just one last thing. Is it okay if we spotlight you, then you're big on the screen and the rest of us are small?
That's fine. This is the sort of stuff I'm a bit clueless about, so I'm really happy if you take care of that. Yeah, oh God. Thanks for that, yeah. So here we are, me and the double bass, another body, I always think.
You don't have to if you don't want to, Caroline.
It's actually quite helpful, isn't it? Because you can see what you're showing. So I think it's fine, it's fine. So last minute or so before we sort of feel like we're just actually going into practice, just for you to arrive, have a sense of centering yourself now by just dropping your eyes and letting your gaze for a few moments become a gaze rather than looking at me and being stimulated by the screen, just dropping into yourself, dropping into your sit bones, a sense of a long rising spine, and the neck is part of that, and a float even through the crown of the head. So just any little micro movements that just make you comfortable sitting. And tuning into your breath as it is now, naturally, without doing anything. We've got about 30 seconds before we decide, yeah, that's it. So you're just maintaining your space, your state, having a sense of how your structure, your skeletal structure feels today, grounding through the feet. You might just press a little into your feet. Like, oh yeah, there's that proprioceptive feedback, that feeling of the ground under the feet, bringing us into our legs, bringing us into our core. So, and then we're just resting the upper body, the shoulders releasing, feeling our own breath. And I'll just say that reminder now, I think we're beginning, that if you need to drop out, do something else, go off piste, that's fine. Look after yourselves, don't do anything that doesn't work for you. And let's look for some pleasure and sensuality in our breathing bodies. And we won't do much, the short session. I'm hoping to take you into some release exercises where we really dig deep into the breathing musculature, and a bit of sounding, a little bit of sounding, humming and vowel sounds. That's about it. We're going to do work on our seats and we're going to do work standing. So welcome everybody. I'm Caroline, and my interest in this work, having been a voice movement therapy practitioner for about 20 years, and also a vocal coach, a singing teacher, I've sort of spread around. And I studied yoga really deeply as well. So it's my other sort of parallel career. And I think this might be a little bit about joining those together and bringing some of the yoga stuff in that underpins how I work with my breath to release it. And to say a little bit more about me, I've just been back to school at 57. I went back and did an MFA in voice studies. It was really rigorous. It was 3 terms. We were in the middle of the pandemic, and you've all been here. We've all been wearing masks and having to work on screens. We're in such a different world today. I got very stressed and anxious. I also learned that I'm very hypermobile in my body. I have a hypermobility condition, which one or two of you know about, which makes me much more prone, and I'm hoping this might ring bells for other people some of the time, prone to just dropping into being slightly overstimulated. If you're a sensitive person, you're a creative person, this might ring bells, that your nervous system can get overstimulated when there's too much going on, you don't feel safe, you're working too hard, you're stressed, whatever the stress is. And I think for a lot of us, we're coming out, hopefully, of the pandemic feeling, well, possibly feeling a little different. And I think there's more anxiety around. So I've really learned for myself that the key to me being stable and able to perform, and we all perform, is my breathing. And sometimes I have to do stuff with my breathing that's small and deep and slow to get me back to being centered, grounded, and my breath released. So I'm hoping that some of you might recognize that in your own way, in your own lives, that, yeah, there are times my breath's a little bit stuck, maybe my diaphragm slightly freezes, maybe you feel it in your throat, your shoulders, unhelpful tensions coming in and getting in the way. And welcome to those last joiners. We're just already starting, sitting on a seat, so just grab yourself a seat if you haven't already. So we're just going to work with all of that in mind. And I'm not very good at planning, to be really totally honest. Also finding I was quite dyspraxic. So planning, yeah, I have a plan, but we'll also just see what happens. So let's arrive. And there's a really beautiful thing in voice movement therapy, which is spherical space. So now that we're together in this room and in our own rooms, I'd like you just to do that thing of resting into your feet, pressing into your feet, feeling that give you feedback about your legs engaging, your glutes, your butt muscles engaging, and it's probably helping you find a feeling of the core engaging, and then a long spine that rises. So your shoulders can drop. That's all we're doing. Close your eyes for a few moments. Just close your eyes and let yourself settle in to being a sitting body that is breathing. And as you breathe, perhaps you can just start to lengthen the breaths. It's the most useful thing we can do. And I'm going to suggest you breathe through your noses. So notice how that is to breathe in and out through your nose. And start to draw the breaths in longer and smoother, so that we start to feel the result of a full exhale, breathing out, is a full inhale. So we're just lengthening the breath, arriving, and having a sense, as these breaths lengthen, that they go beyond our skin. The energy of the breath is moving beyond your skin into your energetic body. Perhaps you're brightening your sphere, your spherical space. So you can just let that space be something that you're imagining as you're breathing and noticing how your breath actually is now in this position, doing nothing except noticing and lengthening the breaths. That energetic quality that seems to be expansive as we breathe in, things brighten in your inner world, and that spreads out into this sense of perhaps a protective sphere or an expressive sphere. It's the space within which you are, and just that feeling that, so everybody's, I don't know where you all are, you're all around the world. This is the weird thing. So we're all in our different rooms. I'm talking like mad, trying to reach you, and you're spread around the world, but actually we're all together. So maybe we can just find a bit of that in our spherical space, that, yeah, this is a group, even though it's spread around the world. And let's keep noticing for a few moments more, and we just start to loosen things up. So I'm going to bring up a hand. You can let your eyes open if they were closed, and just start to feel kind of gentle yawny things that, you kind of did a sort of unnatural yawn. It just made it feel like a real yawn. Just letting the jaw release. I'm not going to suggest massaging. We're not doing any massaging. We're just noticing and saying, yes, jaw, you can let go. And let a bit of sound drop out as you, you might do a little soft shake side to side, but no massaging, just loosening up. And then we're just going to feel the channel through which we breathe, which is our throats. And it's a big space. It's a throat, it's a larynx, it's a pharynx, which is our resonating space at the back of the mouth, down into the larynx, up into the nose. And then there's the nasal cavity as well. We've got this whole big mouth space. So we're just going to take our tongues, weirdly, and drop them over your bottom lip. So you're not stretching your tongue. You can stretch it. I'm just going to suggest you're a bit doggy now. Dogs pant, don't they? So you can try a little mouth breathing pant, which you probably find is not very sustainable. Let your tongue be wet and splodgy and dropping out. Start to lengthen those inhales into the throat, so you really feel the channel and you hear some sound as you breathe in. I can't do it. Can't do it and speak, but you're going to carry on doing it. You're going to carry on breathing, but now breathe through your nose without closing your mouth or shifting your tongue at all. Notice that you have to breathe up and high and deep down into the throat. It feels like this nasal breath takes a long journey and it's really spreading in the back of the throat. That's what I'm hoping you might find. It's a deep nasal breath rather than a front nose sniffing tight breath. So we're trying to find our long nasal breath. And you can carry on once you found that with the tongue dropping out. Thanks for doing that, people. It looks great. Once you've done that, just close your mouth and carry on nasal breathing. Drawing the breath all the way into the top. You can close your eyes or just let your eyes gaze again, and breathing out all the way to the bottom. And I just like to say a couple of things in this position before we get up and move. So you're just focusing on how long and deep can I make my exhale? And I'm hoping you start to feel some feedback if you breathe out really fully. Maybe your belly gets a bit tauter. Maybe you feel there's a slight pumping action starting to occur. The inhale releases into the body as the exhale gets sent out strongly. So lengthening the breath is the best thing we can do. Allegedly, the research shows it. Both research from like thousands, 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, to research that's happening now about breathing. Nasal breath is the way to go. Obviously, when we sing, we have to open our mouths and breathe. But most of the time, we want to nasal breathe. And with this very open throated feeling, that we're spreading the back of the mouth, the roof of the mouth, and we're actually dropping the soft palate as we breathe in. We're spreading the soft palate at the back of the throat. I can't really quite obviously show you where it is. It's in your mouth, but it's right at the back of the throat, and it seals the mouth space and opens the nasal space. And then when we open our mouths into an ah, we lift the soft palate. Let's just try that, a hum into an ah, so we can just feel the action of the soft palate that we're actually moving as we breathe nasally or orally. So we just try a and you can try that a couple of times. You may feel there's some movement in the back of the throat. The soft palate lowers and seals the mouth when you hum. Try that long hum again if you haven't already. And when you open your mouth, the soft palate rises. So this is an exercise of the soft palate, as is nasal breathing. And really, there's so much interesting research about this. I'll talk more about it tomorrow, but nasal breathing is something we've lost. A lot of people you'll see around, and you might notice yourself doing it, a lot of us breathe through our mouths too much these days, and it means our bone structures actually are changing in our faces. Our noses are getting narrower, our whole space to breathe is much smaller than our ancestors. And again, this research shows that they had much straighter teeth than we do. We have much more crooked teeth as a result of what we're doing to our facial structure by breathing through the mouth. I notice I'm doing it because I'm living in a damp flat and I start getting clogged up. So we have clogging up through environmental stuff, pollution, habits. We come back to the nasal breath, and it's a great tool for meditation as well. But that's not where we're going now. So I just thought I'd touch on that really there's some really interesting stuff happening about breathing. I think it's going to become the next wave of what we need, having been masked and unable to breathe fully recently, and even scared to breathe around each other. It's a very weird place for vocalists to be, I think. Anyway, let's stand up just with the intention of warming up our bodies, and just enough space. Yeah, hopefully you can see me. We're not going to do anything complicated. First of all, some looseners. So we'll just do some lifting the shoulders forward, up, all the way around and back, like your arms are a bit heavy. So the arms aren't kind of bending at the elbow and doing any of this work. We're just forward, up and back, dropping the arms down, forward, up and back a few times. You can do them fast, you can do them slow. And then fill that with breath. Let there be breathing occurring as you, and you can breathe through your mouth, out through your mouth quite fully, and that's really nice and freeing. So don't feel you've got to breathe through your nose the whole time. It's something that takes us into a slightly different place. So we're going that way. Let's just do it the other way. A couple of rolls forward, and we'll finish with one that's back. And then we're going to do some shaking of the shoulders. One of my favorite exercises, lifting and dropping. But then, as if we've got springs in our knees, we're going to let the knees do the shaking. So now you can let your shoulders start to be passive and heavy. It's like your arms weigh a ton each. So again, if you're doing it like this, don't let your arms bend and try and do the work. Just let your arms shake down and be heavy. And then I'm dropping onto one foot with the toe tip on the floor, shaking that arm down. It doesn't matter which side, and it can be small and gentle or big and robust. And then the other side, both sides, just the whole body getting a bit of a jiggle and a shake. And then we'll just finish with the hands, arms and wrists. Why? Because our arms do so much doing. So just shake them out, shake the hands and wrists and fingers off the end of the arms and get rid of all of that. I'm going to do this and be this. We're going to be this more than do this. So we just want to get rid of the doing so we can just come back to being really quite neutral bodies. Again, let your eyes close and come back to some sort of nasal breath. Seeing how it is for you to breathe in fully, feeling that spread in the back of the throat on the inhale, and breathing out through the nose as well initially. Letting the arms drop, just feeling what feedback you get from that little bit of shaking you did, releasing the shoulders, which hopefully feel nice and kind of warm. And then we're just going to do spinal rolling. So as if taking the cork out of a bottle, you can just give your head a little side to side sort of loosen up, like you're loosening the cork in a bottle. So, get your neck nice and long. And then we're just going to look forward as if over the edge of a cliff. Bend the knees slightly so the arms drop forward and feel weight in your arms. Again, just releasing the body here. We're looking down. We're just going to drop down smoothly, easily, slow or fast. And when you're down there, have a shake. You can do a side to side shake at the shoulders. You can use your legs and those springy knees to set up a bounce. So you nod your head and release the head and neck. You can just let your voice come in as well. Looks good. Yeah, a little shake side to side. We're going to roll back up, feeling our arms and hands and wrists and head are really heavy. And we're joint by joint stacking up. And we just bring our hands onto our tummies and give them a rub. Really, this is just about, like, here I am. I can feel me. Here's my tummy. Let's do a nice ooh. So we just make some sound that feels like you're nourishing yourself, speaking to yourself through some sound. Ooh, but also just trying to warm the voice up a little bit. Ooh, ooh, any other sound. Ah, oh, oh. I'm going to quickly move up, just rubbing up onto the chest. And we'll just take the breath this time and release the chest down in the exhale, like your hand's really heavy, it's stuck to your chest. You're breathing into that hand. Just letting your chest float a little bit, give it a rub, and we're just gonna release the chest on the exhale and on the sound, obviously. Sliding sounds, sliding vowels that just allow you to release your chest. And one more thing, we'll just take the hands onto the face. You can use both hands here. E, E, whatever the sound is, whatever the note is. I can't hear you. E, E. And then we're going to do lip and cheek wobbles. I like doing these because they make me laugh. It's a bit like being a turkey. Can you release your lips? I'd say it's quite advanced. With a bit of sound. It's playful as well. And it does actually do something really good to your face. Back to just feeling inhale, exhale. And now we're going to go into something a bit odder, actually. Thinking which way around to do this. Yeah. So I say odder, but this is a yoga exercise, and I think it's my favorite, or it's my most useful way. If my breath is really stuck and my diaphragm's a bit frozen, I do this, and I usually do it on the floor. In yoga, would be called a full Uddiyana Bandha. It's a lock in order to unlock. So we're going to do it with our belly. So what we're going to do, I'll show you first. We're just going to rest down onto our knees. So I'm sticking my bum out, my arms are long and straight, my hands are on just above my knees. So find something like that first of all. that allows you to have a long spine and draw the chin in and still have a long back neck, and hopefully rest your weight onto your front thighs so that it's kind of comfortable here. This is where we're going to end up, and we're going to suck our bellies in. But first, we're going to come back to standing. Now you've got that idea of structure. Your feet are quite wide to allow this. We're just going to breathe out, breathe out, breathe out, breathe out, breathe out, all the way down to this structure. Keep our lungs empty at this point, and do a really strong suck in of the belly. I mean, really strong. Squeeze your glutes, switch it all on, suck the belly in as if you're sucking it up under the spine. This is the first one. We'll do it a couple more times. When you need to breathe, just come back to standing, breathing easily. So don't stay down there too long so that you come back up with strain and like really needing to gasp a breath. Let's try it twice more. I think we're going to do a little bit of Q&A at the end. If anybody's really, I can't see you all at the same time, so if anybody's got any questions, hold them and we'll deal with them at the end. Let's just do our best to explore this and enjoy it. So we're going to do it again, breathing out. You take a full inhale first. Let's do it together. Breathing all the way out, down, hands onto the tops of the knees. Straighten up that spine, draw the chin in, suck the belly in, as if you're trying to suck it under your ribs. And a bit more, and a bit more. Chin into chest so your neck doesn't get scrunched up. When you need to breathe, full inhale, back through the nose, and we're back to standing. We'll do it one more time. I'm hoping it's making sense and that you're getting this feeling. Doesn't matter how much belly you've got or how little belly you've got, you're feeling inner muscles. And what we're really stretching, and it's really hard to stretch, I would say, is your transversus band of muscle, your corset muscles. And they're the muscles that actively help us breathe out, is the transversus abdominis. Rectus abdominis is here on the front, and we're less interested in them. We want to release them, and we're going to do that in a minute. So we're stretching our transversus band, and it's actually affecting and stretching some of the attachments of the diaphragm as well. Really useful. Let's do it one more time. Breathing out, breathing out, breathing out. Sucking in. With practice, maybe you're getting it already, the belly just kind of pulls in like it's scooping in. It feels great. It feels really releasing, but you may or may not be experiencing that yet. So this is something to take away and play with if you wish to. When you're ready to breathe, coming back to standing, and just that reminder, if you draw your chin in and lengthen your back neck, it should stop you from feeling any discomfort in your neck and throat. And also this exercise can be really, really releasing as well. Okay, we've done that. Now, I'm really interested how that was for you, but let's just move on. Back to our tummies, and with that feeling of, oh, okay, something's worked in there, let's just do something that's more akin to a singer's exercise. So double F. Just try that first of all. Like you're trying to send a double F sound out through your teeth, really staccato. But we're going to do it with bouncy tummies. This is my bouncy tummy exercise. So a really long one to end with. A little run of fuzz, and then a long one at the end. You can make it the length that's comfortable for you. Try that a couple more times. It's a really full, I'm hoping, inhale. As a result, we're just feeling that, yeah, if we pull these muscles in and do this strongly and do that very long at the end, these muscles again get stretched and get engaged. And then we get that beautiful, full, free abdominal inhale for free. So that's sort of the idea. Shoulders release at the end. You can feel your belly coming in. I would try just shh, like you're saying to someone in the corner, shh, 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 shh. Same sort of thing. It's staccato, it's strong, it's making your tummy bounce. And you know, if it isn't making your tummy bounce, these are exercises that actually take practice, and also they come and go. On a tense day, it might not work so well as on a day where you're feeling really relaxed. So we're just enjoying what is and being with what is for ourselves individually. Shh, shh, shh. one more time in your own. And you know, it's really, I think it's just with breathing, it's so easy. And I'm a prime candidate for this, that if you're learning breathing, if you're learning an exercise, it's the way to make yourself the most tense, to be honest. So take these things away, stay playful and explore them. But breathing exercises, I like to think there's no right or wrong. There often is, but we need not to be in that judgmental state of, oh, I'm doing it wrong, because it really messes up our breathing straight away. Our body knows how to breathe, doesn't it? But sometimes we need to release muscles that have got habits. So that's sort of the idea of this. We're going to sit back down now. Again, if you'd rather stay standing, it's okay, just adapt as you need to. And if you'd rather lie on the floor, that can work even better. Kind of want to wave and say hello, anybody there? You are, oh, thanks, Mel. I know you're there. I hope you're doing all right. It would be so lovely if we were in person. So recoil breaths. When we breathe out really fully, we get back that release. I think you all know that. I'm teaching you things you already know, but hopefully in a slightly different way. Let's just do it again. Not do it again, but I want you just to feel something that I think, for me, as a very front person, very here, very ready, very sort of anticipatory. And again, some of you may feel like that. Some of you might feel like you're the opposite, but there's a back body, isn't there? So as we breathe out and these muscles draw in to aid the exhale, it can also help us to soften our backs and feel into our backs. So let's just bring our hands onto the low back, where you might feel pretty much the heels of your hands are on your kidneys. It's warming, it's a nice feeling. And just let yourself breathe long exhales that kind of, at the end of them, your hands and your back are really meeting quite strongly. Your belly's pulled in. There may be a little bit of rock through the pelvis as you do this, just loosening things up. Breathing out, the belly pulls in, the back rests into your hands. You can breathe, I'd suggest really breathing into your nose, but breathe out through your mouth if you prefer, because you can get a very open through the mouth that also feels releasing. Back to that nice lifting, opening nasal inhale if it's coming. If your nose is all bunged up, just breathe as you need to. And let's start to add in sound so that we feel that this, I like to think this isn't a primal position. When I did my research on hypermobility and my voice being disconnected from my body due to stress in the main, I had to do a lot of coming into my back. So it's something I use quite a lot. Notice it's, as you breathe out, it's really allowing you to release your shoulders down. And the other thing it's doing is actually concaving the front body and rounding the back. I'm exaggerating it to sort of give you the visual. And stress positions tend to be a bit more fight or flight. You know, we're sort of locked into being upright, our shoulders tighten, all of that sort of stuff. So I'm really keen on finding small, clever little ways, simple ways that I think are quite voice movement therapy, and that we work with an evolving or de-evolving cycle of Homo sapien, primate, quadruped. And this for me takes me into, it's more like, yeah, my shoulders release, my arms release, my body's concave at the front. I feel more primate. If we stood up and did it, we probably, it would be easier just to be like that. But we're sitting down. And it gives us back something. It gives us back our back. So let's just try sounding from this position instead of I'm an upright, proper singer. We're just like, no, I'm an animal body here. And we're just going to do some swelling hums. So the strong recoil of the exhale, that sense of your back, which you may still have your hands on, or you might bring a hand somewhere else, onto your chest, for instance, or your belly, or just rest your arms. Give yourself feedback is what I mean. Use your hands and your body to give yourself physical feedback. And we just do some swelling hums like this. The inhale releases. There's a little bit as if you're an inflatable person of sitting more upright as you breathe out and hum. The back comes into your hands that little bit more. Breathe that place. Ah. Start to bring in a bit more sound. May. Chest swelling and spreading with the inhale. Me. It can be any sound. I'm just doing a hum into an open vocal sound, and I'm hoping you're feeling anchoring muscles in the back helping you. Let's come back to the upright, which haven't got loads more time, have we, actually? And see how we feel as a result of all of that. Come back to your nasal breath. And we'll add a little bit more voice on. Just planning what I can fit into the next few minutes and what I'll leave for tomorrow. So let's do a little exercise where we start to string this into our voices. I say string on a thread is what I mean, a thread of humming. So we're just gonna now just allow whatever experience you just had, whatever proprioceptive feedback you've had from your body to percolate as we make some sound. So you can just sit in your comfortable upright position. You've still got your feet on the floor, and let's just try a long hum. I'll do it, but you might be, your choices are pitch, length. You can do it in your own time, basically. And I'm just going to hum along with you. So a bit like this. As I release and end the hum, I'm letting my body almost collapse a bit. I like to work with collapse because I'm too upright. So, you know, bear in mind you can work with collapse as well as upright. Allowing that hum to open into an open ah. So it's really feeling that big space you breathed into, that channel we breathe and sound through, and allowing your resonant hum into an ah, or an o, or an e, or an oo, and we'll thread them all together on a hum in a minute. Try different pitches. Right to the end. Mine's not very long, my voice isn't warmed up. Allowing yourself again to be inflatable. The inhale goes even beyond your skin. Really helpful to put your hand on your chest sometimes and let the chest release with the sound. We're just warming the voice up here. I'm going to do a sequence. I'm hoping you've done a few of those. I'll put it in the chat because I know it's difficult to remember sequences. Very simple, ma, me, me, mo, moo. It's kind of how we learned the vowel sounds at school, a, e, o, u. But the important thing is the hum. So we're going to do ma, me, me, mo, moo. But we're going to sing it on a note. So let me just put that in. It doesn't matter because I can't hear you, and we're not going to bother each other if we're singing slightly different things. But I'm going to put it in anyway. Ma, me, me, mo, mo, moo. Ma, me, me, mo, moo. Remembering the hum is all important. Let's try that. It's there if you, oh, hang on. Do I have to send that? Yes, I do. There we go. And just in case it helps to have a visual. So we just do, on one breath, we're using the whole breath length to the end. So you're going to have to fit your phrase into your breath and not make it too long or too short. If you need to breathe halfway through, it's fine. But we just do it as an exercise to start to warm up our resonators. So I'm hoping what you're really feeling now is this can start to bring the sound forward into the resonating space of the mask, as it can get called, your sinuses, your mouth space, and that whole tube that is at the back of the mouth from the larynx, the oral pharynx, and into the nasal pharynx, nasopharynx, or oropharynx, laryngopharynx. Anyway, so it's where we resonate sound, and this is going to help us to find really full resonance in our voices. Breathing in, pick a mid-range note that's comfortable for you. You've got elastic lips, especially on the moo. So start to use the channel and think of it as coming all the way forward into the lips. This is an energized channel with air pressure behind it, backing up under the vocal folds and punching out into these really resonant sounds. Remember, you're coming back to the just as strongly as that open vowel. Let's do it again. You might still be doing it. Breathing in, just using the whole breath, any extra breath, let it go, let the shoulders release with the breath. Always useful to remember, I've got an animal body, it's not an upright human body, it's a... And I'm really sort of alluding to performance nerves. They can occur in life, in actual presentations and performances, but there are many times just social stuff that's a little nerve-wracking, where we need to give ourselves back an animal body that can bow slightly, release the shoulders, get back to that sense of deep core muscles that release as you breathe out fully. And I haven't even said, but you know this already, if your breathing's a bit stuck, focus on the exhale. It's kind of well known, isn't it? But we have to remind ourselves, not take a deep breath, which can be very tightening, but take a long, deep, full exhale to release those abdominal breathing muscles, particularly the deep transversus band that is our wraparound muscle. So we feel our waists get strong and long. Let's just go back to our ma, me, me, mo, moo one more time, and then we'll probably just do one more thing and hopefully have a bit of a chat. Having enough breath left for the ooh at the end, unlike me. So yeah, you fit those to your breath length. It's a really nice practice for bringing resonance into the voice and starting to work all these muscles, cheek muscles, lip muscles. The tongue is releasing. There's a lot going on to shape the sound into something that is full and resonant and given out to the world, having first of all resonated within our mouth space, in that hum, which is actually in our nasal space, into all those little turbinates that around the back of the nose. Lots of spaces we send the sound to resonate, and then we open out into the world and give it out. So best thing really, given I'm trying to think about releasing breath here, could have started with this one. It's always the most useful human release, I think. Let's stand up for this one again. It's just laughing, really. It's chuckling. You know, I've just been to school. I did an MFA in voice studies, and we did quite a lot of chuckling. It's quite serious stuff, really. So first of all, just a he. I'm kind of doing a little tummy pull because I'm used to demonstrating. You don't need to do that, but put a hand there so you feel the little jiggle that may occur. He. Ha 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 ha. Whatever a chuckle is to you today, let your body go with it. Maybe you're laughing. I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing with you, honestly. Shoulders releasing. We'll get a bit deeper. Let yourself drop down into lower notes, fuller belly. Ho ho. Father Christmas. Ho ha 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 ha. And a little bit more. Can you really just go crazy laughing for a moment? Let yourself go. Let yourself body involvement. Hey! And then just, I'm seeing some good stuff happening there in the corner. Ah, great. And then just to kind of let the voice fly from that, ha, ha, that really released and available belly, body, voice, breath. We'll just do some heys. You can send it far. Hey! Like you're Italian. Oh! Right from the feet all the way up through your body. Let your body. Hey! Oh! Hey! Oh! Ah! Oh! And then we'll just have a last little shake out, a jaw, anything you just learned that you need to drop again. Just give yourself a little roll around, a bit of a shake. Shake out the legs. Flick those feet off the end of your legs. Give your, oh, here's a good one. Give your bum cheeks a wobble. One of my most favourite releases. I can just feel my butt is wobbling. Even if you got a little skinny body, they still wobble. So enjoy, luxuriate in wobbling your butt before we sit down on it again. And I think we've got time. Just, I don't know if there's anything anybody wants to ask or reflect back or anything that's coming to mind. Please write it in the chat box. And if there are any questions, very happy to answer any way I can. And some things in the chat box. Oh, thank you. Breathing ourselves alive. Well, absolutely. That's just what you needed. Okay. Any questions? Anything like, oh, what was that about? Or why did you do that? Or that didn't work. Why did you do that? Or just stuff, how it made you feel. Would love some info about nasal breath research. Yeah. I have some right here that I'm going to recommend. And this book, and I think it's the right way around for you, is it? Does that thumbs up? Yeah. I would so totally recommend this book. And shall I write it in the chat as well? I'll write it in the chat. Actually, this guy, James Nestor, the reason I heard about him, he's on in the UK. We're not all in the UK, I know, different time zones, different vibes altogether, but he's doing on Radio 4 a little talk, or he has been, he's had a little series about breathing, which is why I think this is getting mainstream now. People are starting to really realize how important breathing is. This book, the research in this book is brilliant. You're going to love it. It's really readable, and he's just everything I've ever done in yoga and learned for myself. He's kind of validated it. There's lots of other stuff in here, and I would really recommend that. So I'm just going to suggest that book because it will take you to other places, you know, that he makes some connections to. And obviously, I think his research is all, yes, it's all very sort of academically written as well. So yeah, that the nasal breathing, it really is a massive thing, I'd say. And I'm just noticing for myself, and I've been just working with a couple of people who have this problem of, well, things that come out of doing a lot of mouth breathing. Sleep apnea is one, which is a very common problem and can really mess up your life if you're not getting proper sleep and your breathing's going into this sort of stuck place when you're breathing. Terrifying. Asthma, I mean, there's the Buteyko breathing. He mentions a lot of these things that we already know about. They use long breaths as well. Long breaths, I think, are the answer to everything. Oh, last piece, and this is actually out of this book. He talks about the meditative quality of breathing quite a lot as well. Yeah, that someone just said, a Hindu person I spoke to, Elspeth, thanks, said they had some breathing practices to help protect against COVID. So the yoga stuff is really aligned with, you know, it's come from the same part of the world as Hinduism, and it's definitely true. I think a lot of the COVID pandemic, this is my thought, is much worse because people are much more scared because they're not in tune with their breathing. You know, if we can really know our breath and we can come back to full nasal breathing, I think it's massive in our health. And the research shows it does great things to our immune system, our obviously our respiratory system, our heart function, our general health, our state of mind. All this stuff, it comes through good breathing. And I, as someone who's done a lot of it and taught a lot of it, it's funny how when you teach, you don't always do it yourself, but I had to do it in the end because my hypermobility and my stress levels were so over, you know, they were really affecting my body, and I couldn't perform. I couldn't release my breath. And I just dug deep into breathing exercises, some of the stuff I've shown you, some other things, and a lot of just lengthening, sitting quite meditationally, long nasal breaths into open vowel sounds, sliding vowels, just exercises that actually gave me back my voice, my presence, my ability to perform and present, which I then had to do and was successful. So I do think there's just a lot in this, and I think this book's a great resource. There's lots of other stuff. It's 10 to
Caroline, could you put the title and the
Oh, yeah.
author in the chat for us so that we can see it?
Let me do that now. I just didn't want to kind of leave you all sitting there while I'm typing because I'm not a very good typist. Could be here another 5 minutes. So breath. I'll just put breath. Oh, sorry, hang on. Put the thing in there. So you can chat amongst yourselves. It's Breath by James Nestor. And it's the new science of a lost. The new science of a lost art. He talks about how our ancestors had much better bone structure because they had much broader nasal passages, more space, they breathed through their noses, and we've lost a lot of that. And also food being processed, pulpy, easy to chew. All these things have led to us having less successful breathing channels and also becoming lazy about using them. So interesting. Of a lost art, hang on. Lost art. I hope that's clear enough. Hang on. Hyphen. Yeah, okay. And I'm just going to put in my website, my email address, just because my website's a little bit not quite working at the moment. In case anybody wants to get in touch about anything, I'll stick that in there as well. You can get me through my website, but the contact links don't work at the moment, but the email is on there. But anyway, Caroline at voicemoves.co.uk for anybody who wants that. Anything else? Anything else? Any other questions? Feedback. It's now 10:02. Why don't we just finish? Because we could actually just do one more thing, and it's in that book actually. But we're just going to go back to our nasal breathing. It's almost like going back to where we started. Your feet are on the floor. You can close your eyes. You can keep them open if you'd rather. But if you do keep your eyes open, notice the eyes tend to move around and be stimulated by the world. If we close them, the first thing we can do is just drop into a deeper space where we release our eyes. It's massive for meditation. So with your eyes closed or your eyes open, release those eyeballs. Let those eyeballs be a bit heavier. And breathe through your nose. You might find it's easier to do that when your eyes release. Notice your tongue is kind of plastered to the roof of your mouth, ideally. You don't have to stick it there, it's just sort of there. And your teeth are close together. Your lower jaw is close to the upper jaw, but you're not pressing your teeth together, you're not gripping them. Just soft, so the jaw is still released, and therefore the tongue, that big muscle, is releasing. Remember when you flopped it out over your teeth? And we just start to count our breaths on 5 count inhales, counting to 5 on the exhale. There's a slight pause between each section. The inhale, pause, the exhale, pause, the inhale, pause, the exhale, pause. So we'll do it seemingly 5.5, and this is really interesting. This is what the science is saying. from the viewpoint of athletes, meditators, all sorts of religious faiths and chants that have developed, and Buddhist chants seem to all do this same 5.5 measure. It's actually 5.5 seconds for an inhale. You might be just starting to find this in your own way. 5.5 seconds for an exhale. So I'm just going to count to 5 and have a slight pause. But guess what? If we do this, we get 5.5 breaths per minute. It's slow, it's long. We're breathing far less breaths. And I think that's one thing that book and current research shows. We don't need lots more breath, especially if we're breathing through our mouths. Mouth breathing overbreathes. It's not good for us. We actually need to breathe less, more slowly, longer. It's so interesting. So we'll just do a few counted breaths. You're probably doing it already. Eyes are releasing and relaxing. Feet feel the floor. You're just making a structure that has sit bones that drop and give you support, so your spine lifts. Yeah, there's a bit of a body scan happening as we do this. We've got our energetic body that spreads beyond the skin. And we're breathing in. So just get ready for your next inhale. Let's breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5. In. 2, 3, 4, 5. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5. In. 2, 3, 4, 5. Carrying on at your own pace. 5. You might find 3 is better for you. 2, 3, and so on. Just going a few more rounds on your own, finding your own rhythm. I'm saying this is the perfect rhythm for meditation, for the health benefits of breathing nasally, but it's only if it works for you. So if you need to build up to a 5.5 second count, do that. Start with 3, 2. Maybe you're going longer. And these are all valid things to do. There's no right or wrong with breathing, is what I think we've decided. And we're just winding that down. I'm just going to say thank you all very much for listening to me talk for nearly an hour. And thanks, and I'm applauding you too. And it's been a real pleasure. I do have another little session. I think it's the same time tomorrow. Is that right? My time is 11 a.m. tomorrow in the UK. So thank you. Can I hand back?
Caroline,
Moderator.
thank you so much. That was a fantastic session.
Oh,
So much
marvelous.
information. Just brilliant.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank
well,
you. Thank you.
it's all experimental doing this online, isn't it? It's like, how do you do this? What do you do with breathing? It's internal. Anyway, thanks so much, everybody. Maybe see some of you tomorrow. Have a great conference. I'm just part of one tiny thing. Now you're going to go and sing and do wonderful things. So maybe see you in some other places. And yeah, I'm off. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We're going back to private now, Adma and Pastor. So we see you in a couple of hours when we go into the public open day.
Right. Thanks, Melanie.
Do I need to change the link, Melanie?
Not yet. We've got one more session with William, and then after William, we'll change the link to the open day.
Okay.
So when you come back in, Odma and Pastor Solongo, when you come back, use the link for the open day, and it is in the information on the website. And we'll see you both then. Thank you.
I have actually lessons to teach until about 4, so I'm going to miss the first part, but I'll try to come in at 5.
Come in whenever you can. Just come on in. Come in on the hour, because I will be closing the workshops 10 minutes after they start.
Yeah.
So have a look and either come in be in that 10-minute period, or then come in at the end. Yeah.
I will, but come in on the open link, right?